So this week we're going to look at the chart for Walt Disney, famous animator. Born December 5th, 1901 at 0 degrees 35 minutes in Chicago, Illinois, using transformational Vedic astrology, which is Vedic astrology is using the sidereal zodiac, not the Western tropical zodiac. And if you were to look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see that the constellation associated with Virgo is rising at 3 degrees and 10 minutes. So this is not an arbitrary number. It becomes the most effective point of every house. So any planet like Venus, like Mercury, that's within 5 degrees of this most effective point, either by conjunction or aspect, has impact in his chart. A lot of impact. So first we're going to look and see how the planets are operating. And then we're going to look and see when they're operating, and then we're going to look at and see what could be done to rectify the chart or remedy the chart. So we know that in transformational Vedic astrology that we have 5 malefics, functional malefic planets. So any Multrikona signs. So planets have 3 different kind of aspects. They can either be debilitated, they can be exalted, or they can be a Multrikona sign. So the Multrikona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So any Multrikona sign that falls in the 6th, the 8th, or the 12th house, these are the Dusthana houses, the houses that cause challenges to help us grow. They become functional malefic. So we see Saturn ruling Aquarius. Aquarius is the 11th sign in the 8th house. So Saturn becomes functional malefic. We see the first sign, which is Aries, ruled by Mars, becomes functional malefic. And then we see Leo, or the 5th sign in the 12th house, ruled by Sun. Sun becomes functional malefic, along with Rahu and Ketu, which are the nodes of the moon that are functional malefic for every chart. So let's go through and see how the planets are operating, whether they're strong or weak or well placed, and how they're affecting Walt Disney. So Sun is at 19 degrees, again, ruling the 12th house. So the 12th house is losses, expenses, separations, foreign lands, depression, addiction, sleep issues, sexual issues. So, and it's also Sun represents father. So, Sun was malefic, so he didn't get a lot of support from his father. His father was very controlling and abusive, and it's in this house of early childhood. So it gave some unpleasant experiences in childhood because of his dad. He couldn't wait to get out of the house. And but Sun in this house of entrepreneurial success, it gave him leadership abilities, independence. And he actually had a strong desire to get involved in the war, and they didn't accept him, so I guess he drove an ambulance. But this is the house of business and communication. So Sun did some good things for him there. Now he had addictions. He smoked 3 packs of Lucky Strikes a day, and he had strong OCD tendencies. He washed his hands as much as 30 times in an hour when he was under stress. So all of that comes under Sun. Moon is at 16 degrees. It is ruling the house of income and friendships, and it is placed in the house of life purpose, health, longevity. So, and strong self and soul. So you could say that income comes through moon, which represents the public, and moon is also nurturing. And also, this is the house of older siblings. So his brother Roy ran the business end of it. He did the animation. So you could say income came through working with his brother, his older sibling, and doing animation for public consumption and nurturing the public. Apparently, the cartoons, the animation that he did was very uplifting for the public during the Great Depression, which was a very dark time. Um, Now, this house here, we're going to get to that in a minute. Mars is at 15 degrees, and again, it is ruling Aries in the house, the eighth house of death-like experiences, transformation, and research. So Mars gives courage to do research into new forms of animation, utilizing music and orchestras along with animation. Very innovative. And it is placed in this house of family happiness. He had happiness through the animation, the research, and had a real strong love trains. So, this is also the house of conveyances. So, all of that comes under Mars. Mercury is at 4 degrees. It is ruling the house of life purpose, placed in the house of entrepreneurial success, business, communication. So, and Mercury gave great intellect to create all this new animation, cartoons, Mickey Mouse, Fantasia. Dumbo is the latest one of the latest films that came out from Disney, and gave him a real strong critical eye, very much of a perfectionist. And this is the house that rules the hands. So he worked with his hands with the animation. So then Jupiter is at 22 degrees. It's placed in its own sign, which is Sagittarius, ruling the house of family, happiness, property, huge amount of property, all around the world, Disney owned, with the Disney parks, and it is afflicted by Saturn. So Saturn brings some conflict, some with family. There was some conflicts because he worked with his brother. And then this is health also and longevity affecting Jupiter. Let's see here. And also Jupiter is afflicted by K2. So it's within 2 degrees of K2. So again, it gives great insights to Jupiter's expansion and optimism and vision for the future. So K2 added insight to that on one level. Now, let's see what else. Venus is at 7 degrees, and it is ruling the house of wealth and recognition, placed in the house of children. So his art was for the children. Venus is beauty and art, fine arts, performing arts, which is what animation is. Investments into animation and the parks, the children's parks, and then children. So and education as well. So the animation was meant to be educational for children as well. So all of that, and then wife. So even with his first name for Mickey Mouse was Mortimer, and his wife said, "No, that won't do. You should make it Mickey." So she really was a force that inspired him. In fact, right after he got married. Mickey Mouse became famous. So behind every great man, there's a great lady. Saturn's at 22 degrees, and it is ruling the house of conflict and delays and accident, fire, theft, and cheating, and health issues and healing. I think Saturn gave him a lot of discipline to do, to make everything great and perfect. Made him very suspicious, withdrawn, and controlling as well. Lack of peace of mind comes from this house. And then Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu is at 20 degrees. So Rahu gave ambition and desire for wealth and recognition. K2 gave insights into research into animation with a spiritual aspect to it. There's a lot of people say this is also the house of occult, and there are some people that say that there are subliminal occult messages in the cartoons. You see pyramids with eyes in them in the background and things like that. So I don't know how much he was into that, but there's some of that there. So let's now look at the timing of events. So he was married during a Rahu-Venus period. Venus desire, Rahu desire for wife. And Mickey Mouse was created during that time as well. So the Venus, the beauty, the fine arts, the animation. Then he won an Academy Award for Snow White in 1938 during a Jupiter expansive period where Mercury, the entrepreneurial success was happening, activated. Then Fantasia came out in 1940, very popular. This was also during the Jupiter Mercury successful period. And then he opened the Disneyland during 1955. The first day was kind of a disaster. There was a lot of afflictions of Rahu and Ketu on that day and Mars. But after that, it became very successful. Jupiter-Venus period. So Jupiter is property. Venus is investment and wealth, recognition. So then he died December 15th, 1966 of lung cancer during a lung surgery. Mercury and K2 were operating. K2 is unexpected events, calamities. And if we look at the transit during that date, you can see that the outer circle is where the planets were that day. The inner circle is where the planets were when he was born. You see Rahu right over Ketu, causing a lot of impact and death-like experiences, transformations, accident. I think the surgery didn't go well. And then it is also afflicting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, end of life, 6, 7, end of marriage, 8, 9. It's afflicting natal Saturn. So Rahu's at 22 degrees, natal Saturn, which Saturn represents longevity, end of life. Coming from the house of death-like experiences afflicting Saturn right on top of Jupiter as well. So, yeah, a lot of impact on that date. Now, what could we do to what could we do to strengthen this chart? So back to the birth chart, we want to transform Saturn, Mars, and Sun, along with Rahu and Ketu, by chants and charities. So giving to people who cannot help themselves, and giving to men that are like brothers, giving to men that are like fathers. Um, Rahu also and Ketu helping spiritual organizations, and listening to spiritual chants of Ganesh and Shiva and let's see, yeah, Shiva as well, and Hanuman could be done, and then Vishnu for sun, and then strengthening the rest of the planets with gemstones or kavash are wearing these colors. So strengthening Mercury with emerald on the pinky finger, or a kavash, which is a locket containing the Devata yantra, is very powerful. Much more powerful, I feel, than gemstones, and much more economical. So sun, we don't want to strengthen the malefics, but strengthen the benefics. Mercury, Venus, although Venus is his strongest planet, Jupiter, and Moon with the Kavash locket. Wearing white, yellow, white, green would also be helpful. So those are the details for Walt Disney's chart. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're interested in a consultation, you can go to www.vastucreations with an S on the end.com under services. Or if you're interested in learning about transformational Vedic astrology, which I feel is very direct and gets to the heart of things and very accurate in predictions, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. And you can get certified as a Vedic astrology by going through the courses there. So thank you for listening. Om Namah Shivaya.